Are you tired of average results and ready to achieve extraordinary success in your business? Join us as we uncover the strategies and insights that will propel you to new heights in your business journey. You don't want to miss tonight's show.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Welcome to the Better Your Business Show. I'm Natalie Esseman, the founder of Your Money Expert, and I am absolutely thrilled to introduce you to my amazing co-host, Shanna Mavis, the founder of The Coach for Business. And tonight we are diving deep into the secrets of entrepreneurial success. So get ready to level up your business game, but we cannot do it alone. We need your active participation and support. So if you know an entrepreneur who wants to see tonight's show, make sure you tag them in the comments and make sure you give us a like, share, and subscribe. So Miss Mavis, you excited?
I am, but I'm always excited on Thursday nights because you're going to introduce me in such a way that makes me feel good. And I always learn something. And I guess I should be careful with how I say this. Tonight's guest, we have been on opposite sides of points at one time. I remember being on a call with him and he was just like, you were my favorite person until now. So I'm excited to see how this is going to play out tonight. I did become his favorite person again. I just want to point that out. I mean, outside of his family or what have you, but I did win him over during that call. I do want to say that. So yeah, it'll be good because the conversation that we started having, in the pre-show combo was really interesting, thinking about what is success? What does that really mean? And it's something different for each of us. Like your idea of success, is that freedom of time, right? You've mentioned that so many times. So that's tied into what you would consider your business being successful. For me, looking at that, being able to help people, it's part of who I am. It's who I'm called to be. It's how God made me. That to me is a success. If I can see my clients or my family be successful and I get to spend time doing what I love and hanging out with people and not feeling necessarily chained to a desk, even though I spend a lot of time there, I don't feel that way. So success for me looks a lot different than many other people. I do like money, and it would be great, when I have more of that, then I'll always know what to do with it, right? Because I pray about everything. So there's no doubt about that. But it'll be great when, that's in abundance, but that's not necessarily to me what makes my business.
Can I stop you real fast? Because it's always in abundance. It's always in abundance.
True that.
That's I think the biggest block is that we have is we think it's not always in abundance, or we don't realize that we're not bringing more money into our life. I think this is the biggest thing because we haven't been good stewards of what we have yet to be able to expand on it, right? We have to understand the basics to be able to expand. And so that's really one of the reasons why I'm always talking about it, because you got to have the basics in place, right? It's like that one show on football where he says, oh my gosh, I'm going to totally kill it. But he's like, if anybody does, put in the comments. He's like, let's get back to basics. Like, this is a football, right? And so that's where we have to get started, because then we can expand. Once that expansion is open, all that abundance, it has a place to go. Until then, it doesn't have any place to go.
You have said that to me before. And obviously, I still haven't gotten that language in my head right, but I appreciate it. And I do want other people to hear that, because there is a difference. And it is that I was talking to my cousin, and it was the perspective. I was talking about how my vision for, there's a foundation I want to start. My vision for that feels so far away. And she's like, because you're looking at it from the wrong vantage point. Look at it from there to where you are versus from here, where it feels like it's so far out in the distance. So yeah, it is a mindset shift that needs to still happen. And that's why I'm here Thursday nights. I mean, that's
it's always happening for all of us, right? That's the beauty of life and growing. There's always a next level.
Yeah. Do we want to go ahead and bring him in? Do you want to introduce him?
I'm excited to hear you two disagree live. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, no, I love hearing from him. I think he brings a lot of wisdom to the table. I mean, I shared when we were having pregame, there are times in my life where I think about the last time he was on the show. There's not a lot of people have done that, but he gave me such a shift. And it was interesting because I've read this book. It's called John Maxwell. I think it's Talent Isn't Enough. And basically it's saying, talent doesn't win when hard work will always trump talent, basically, is what he's saying. And so anyways, I just really put things in perspective when we had him on the show. I think back on it often. So I'm excited for tonight.
All right. Do you want to tell him who he is?
Yes. So we have the founder and CEO of Sovereign Company by Mr. J. We have Daniel back in the house.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome to season 6, and thank you for being here with us tonight.
Of course. Yeah, I'm always excited to be back on the show with you guys. I had a lot of fun last time.
Good. Awesome. To talk about obviously one of our favorite subjects, right?
Yeah, and I just love arguing with Shanna, so it should be interesting.
Okay, good. So where do you guys want to start?
What we were arguing, it had something to do with sales. I cannot remember what it was. Oh, I was saying that I didn't feel like CEOs should be selling. And he was arguing with me because I was like, I'm going to argue with anyone every time that they tell me that your CEO should be, that deeply involved after a certain point, right? Recognizing that as entrepreneurs, most of us come into this wearing every hat. So I do need to have basic understanding. I do need to know a lot. I need to know everything about my business, but I need to be preparing to pass that along to team members, right? I didn't want CEOs going through this track and this getting so deeply involved in every sales strategy, every process, all of the learning and knowledge that you can gain as a salesperson. I didn't want the CEOs that went through this educational institution that we are trying to put together. I didn't want them going through a track that got them so bogged down in the details that they forgot that they're supposed to be casting vision. They're supposed to be doing something different in their organization, because if they're out there so focused on what the sales team is doing, who's doing the things that they should be doing? So that was where we, until I got that part out, he was ready to fight me. I just want to point that out.
Well, hold up. So hold on a second. I remember my rebuttal. I remember exactly what I said to overturn this. And the point that I made was that everything that you do as an entrepreneur, as the CEO, is scaled from sales. Every skill set that you develop in the beginning as a salesperson, because you are usually the one selling for your own business,
right,
that ability to communicate and to influence people is going to serve you dividends on the back end as you scale and become a more and more a larger company. And then you have employees and staff and people. All the stuff that you do to win over clients and win over prospects and win over leads are all the same stuff you're going to use to have critical conversations with your team and to maintain the balance. And so that's what I was saying is like, you need the nuance, you need the sophistication of that skill set and communication in order to be an effective leader down the road. All effective leaders are good communicators, because that's 90% of what you're doing. The best leaders are superfluous, right? So if you can't communicate to your team adequately enough to get them to run the business when you're not around, you don't have a business, you have a really expensive job. And
right.
So that was my point. And we're both right. I'm a little bit more right, but we're both right.
Okay, and see, that's where I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you again, Daniel. But But we'll move on to how to be successful in entrepreneurship. And I'll try not to correct you if I hear you say something wrong. No, this is a good. It's a conversation that needs to be had because again, like we were talking about before, what does success really mean? And people need to define that for themselves, right? They need to really look at that and think about it. Because Natalie, you brought up an excellent point. To what end, right? What are you doing all of these things for? You're looking, and Daniel, you talked about this as well. You're seeing someone else and you're feeling like that's what success really looks like without factoring in what's happening in their lives, without factoring in all that it took for them to get there. But we want to have that conversation and really hopefully cause business owners to think about what success means and what they're willing to sacrifice it or do to get there. Is that 80 hours a week? Is that 10 hours a week? Because I want more of my time. So that means I need to make more money in that 10 hours a week in order to be able to maintain a certain standard of living or what have you. But yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts, Daniel. Let's start with you answering the question, how can you be successful in entrepreneurship?
Well, first off, I want to say that's a loaded question. And mostly because, what you're asking really is, it's like spirituality, right? It's such a personal thing that you're having. It's a relationship with success. It's the same relationship you're going to have with like whatever you believe about reality, whether you believe in God or you believe in the universe or science, whatever it is. It's the same thing with success, right? Like, what does success mean to you? I forget who said it or where I heard it from, but it was used in regards to winning over your people when you're a leader and you have people underneath you, is meeting them where they are and what aligning your goals as a company with the people that are following you. And so for each person, it's going to be different. Some people want novelty. Some people want movement, right? They want to be able to travel the world and live wherever they want to live and have that lifestyle. Some people want to be able to spend time with their family. Some people are like solely status driven and it's so much about money. And so all of those people are going to have widely different definitions of what success is to them. And for me, I'm more movement. I just want to be able to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. I like that flexibility. I like that opportunity. If I want to go hang out in Fiji for 3 weeks, I can bring a laptop and still crush it and make a lot of business moves and make a lot of money. But that's gonna dictate what your action items have to be to get to that goal, right? And so if you're status driven, you're gonna work 80, 90 hours because you have to outwork your competition, right? You're solely competitive. That is your entire definition of success. Versus someone like me, movement is more important to me. I really don't care about status. I really don't care what people think about me for the most part, other than being reputable and respectful and having that reciprocated. But I don't care if you think I'm the next Grant Cardone, if you think I'm the next this, the next that. It doesn't bother me anyway, as long as I'm making the money that I want to make and I have the lifestyle I want. I'm happy. And so when you ask that question, how to become successful, you kind of have to reverse engineer the question where it's like, okay, what's the goal? What do I want? Right? What's the vision for the future? And then if your vision is crystallized enough, you don't have to think about the day-to-day so much. It's just, okay, that's where I'm going. That's the direction. And I can focus on the micro steps to get there. And you can determine how fast you want to get there by how much you want to work or how smart you are or what other resources you have at your disposal. Recently, I've been getting very lazy and enjoying it because I'm actually finding out that being lazy is forcing me to be a more effective decision maker and more efficient in the things that I'm doing because I'm giving myself less time to do them. I used to work 90, 100 hours a week, and we were talking about this backstage. I was losing health. That was the main thing I was sacrificing, was my health. And so I'm like, well, if I'm not healthy, right, I have nothing. I can't do this anyway. So let me fix this. And I went a different direction. And, I'm actually getting better results than I did before when I was working more. I'm getting more done in less time. And so I'm working smarter rather than harder. So for me personally, success is plenty of disposable income, lots of freedom and flexibility, and time with the things that matter most to me.
What about you, Natalie?
I mean, for me, it's very similar. I think that most people know that for me, time is everything. I always have said in my life, I want to have it all. I want to have it all. And well, that means having it all, right? That's one thing I've learned. That means the good and the bad if you want to have it all, right? And so one thing that taught me was really to get clear on what does all look like for me, right? I think especially being in finance, most people haven't taken the time to put a number behind what does having it all look like for me. And what I would say is the number is probably smaller than you think and more attainable than you think as well. But because there hasn't been thought put behind it, how do you even know what that looks like or how to get there? So for most people, I would say that needs to be that starting point. What would your life look like at that dollar amount? Or, and for me personally, the other thing would be, how can I buy back my time? How can I start creating passive income from that? That is also something else, I'm just always going to look at, because again, that gives freedom of time. But that number is different for everyone. And that's what I've seen that is the most, people are most deceived on what that number is.
What you're actually talking about, though, is vision, right? Like you're still bringing up vision. And I think that's the number one thing that most companies struggle with, especially early on when they're creating a brand strategy or some sort of strategy for their company, is they don't think about, first off, they don't understand what a vision statement is supposed to be about, or a mission statement, or your values for that matter. And so they mess up on the vision statement. And they're not realizing that a vision statement is supposed to be what your company would look like in 30, 40, 50 years if everything went exactly the way you thought it was going to, right? Yeah. What would you accomplish? And the reason why it's so important to get that and to like crystallize that in your mind is because it relieves you of the panic and the everyday decisions to try to navigate and figure that out to get there. It's like, no, you figure that out first, right? What is your purpose? What gets you up in the morning? Why are you doing this? And where are you going? And when you have the macro understood, then it's just actions. You don't have to worry about results so much. The results will come so long as you do the right actions. And it just alleviates all of that stress and like frantic energy of like, I'm not making it. I'm not close enough. I didn't do the right thing. I'm not, which is usually what kills everyone. Is they're just like, mass confusion. They're constantly making decisions out of fear rather than, no, this is just the next decision I have to make. I knew I was going to come here. I could see my goal. It was down that way, and I could see all the stuff in between me in that goal. So I knew that obstacle was going to be there.
So you became one of my favorite people when you started talking about vision. And Natalie, I think you're the only person that's read the ebook so far that I've written, but that's where it first starts for me. That's what I was looking at. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to be aware of that that's where it all starts. It's that understanding. And I like to think of it more as a narrative versus just a statement. It is looking at the picture of what your business looks like. When my cousin was talking to me about that vantage point, it was, you're already there. I've already built this foundation. What does that look like? And then working my way backwards from there instead of it being so far away, or in many cases for business owners, it's really that lack of understanding because I don't know where it's going. I don't know when I've made it there. So I keep doing things over and over, and I'm trying this thing, trying that thing. And a lot of that is because I really haven't taken the time to sit down and say, what does this look like? That's, again, could be, what does success really, what does my business look like? How are my clients feeling? How are my employees feeling? How big is this company? It's to that level of detail. And I went through this exercise, I want to say 2019, we went through a vision building exercise. The company had been in business for so many years, but as a group, of employees, we sat down and we crafted the vision for the company looking forward the next few years. And I always start with new business owners. Let's look at a year. Let's talk about what that looks like even a year from now. so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming, but really taking a look and saying, okay, this is what this is going to look like for me. And that's when I'll know that I've made it. I don't want to take any steps. We can set goals that will align with that. We can set milestones that will align with those. And so it's just taking those steps toward what we've already seen that we've accomplished, right? So yes, Mr. J, you just became one of my favorites.
It's like a string of pearls, right? Like if you have the purpose, the why, and then the vision, where we're going, right? You have the direction, and then you have your compass. And everything else between where you are and that vision is just a little pearl that gets strung along until it's this completed thing, and it's beautiful and whatever. We can complete the analogy from there. But it without the two anchor points of the why and the where, you can't do anything in between. It's confusing, right? Because you can't align, like if you have no frame of reference, you have nothing to align all of your other points to. People constantly use values the wrong way in their business, where they use value as like keywords to just like kind of stick in there. Innovation, honesty, integrity. It's like, that's not a value. That is SEO. Like, that doesn't help anybody. No one knows what you're talking about. Values have to be actionable. We believe in innovation, and we've created an environment that supports innovative thinking, right? That's a value. That's something that someone can get behind. They know, oh, I can take risks here. I can, color outside the lines. And this is the kind of place where I'm going to be rewarded for doing that, right? Your brand strategy and that document that you use, that deck that you use, isn't just for external use and for clients and prospects. It's also for internal use. It's for your organization to align themselves with your brand and your brand identity in order to act accordingly. So everyone's cohesive, everyone's saying the same thing, everyone's acting the same way. And there's that age-old adage of like, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Yeah. Right? It's like, if you don't put in that effort to showcase the reality of what it is that we do here, and then align that with the people that are following you and building your company for you, it's like, you're not going to retain anyone. They'll leave. And so I forget what started this whole thing, but yeah, there's your point. Yeah.
Well, something that I appreciate from what the two of you just said is, because I consider myself a visionary type of person, and usually where I'm challenged is on all those little things that you and Shannon both talked about, right? Sitting down, slowing down, planning it. I don't want to do it. I want to cast the vision. I'm in it. Like, I am head in the clouds already, right? And some of the feedback that Shannon and I get most for the show I get all the time is the dynamics between Shannon and I, because I'm always in the clouds and Shannon's like putting my feet on the ground, right? My husband's the same way. But I think it's so important, even if you're not a visionary, let's just say you want something else, well then how can you still use a coach to help you cast vision? It's still the same thing, right? Maybe that's not your role in it, but it doesn't mean you still can't create something big. There's lots of introverts with huge companies.
Yeah, Natalie, she's famous for calling me, and she is all fired up and ready to go. I mean, everything is done, and I'm like, but wait, what about these things right here? I love your excitement, and I really do. She is like so on fire, and in her mind, it all works out. But I'm like, but there's a few things, and what are our goals, and what are and she's like,
he just pops my balloon, Daniel.
But that's good, right? That's actually what you want in a company, in a structure, right? In any functioning organization that lasts a long time, you're going to have those two energies, and they have to complement one another, right? Yeah. You're going to have the visionary type who is sometimes a CEO, but sometimes they're not. That's like all of the enthusiasm and energy and ideas and like, oh my God, we can do this, that, and the third. Most of them are incorrect just by the definition of creative output, right? Most creative thoughts are wrong, right? And so you're always taking a crapshoot whenever you try to implement them. And that's why you have it's usually like your CFO is usually the one that's more grounded. They're looking at things in an analytical sense. And most of the time, if those two people are in the same company and they're trying to build it together, the analytical type is going to say no to most of the ideas of the creative type, because they want things that are structured. They want it to work, right? They want a system that's replicable and you can do over and over again and stable over time. It's like, but the problem with that is, and this is why we have two-party systems in America. It's literally a difference in thinking between people and temperament. Is when things no longer work in the system that you've built already, it is time to be creative and to think outside the box and to change something. And so that the ebb and flow of like when to do that, when to make the decision to be creative and when to make the decision to be conservative, is the never ending conversation between the two energies, whether that's in your own mind, which is what I'm like, which, so you can imagine what my mind is like, this constant contention internally, because I have a creative tilt and I have creative ideas, but I'm also highly practical. And I hate when I basically undermine my own ideas. So I'm like, well, if you can't do that, that's going to blow up in your face. If this doesn't work, then this doesn't work, right? But it's trying to find that balance between those two things, which is what makes things last a really long time. Because you can get kind of you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. You can be creative, you can be innovative, you can try new things, but then you also have to temper that with discipline and practical applications. Even me and Shanna have gone through this, where I had ideas and I was struggling to bring them to the table. I'm like, I don't know what they want, and I don't want to spend all this time working on stuff, and then it just like it doesn't go anywhere. And she's like, just prototype it, and send it to them, and if they like it, then you move forward. And I was like, I didn't even think about it like that. Thank you. That's actually really useful advice. Like, it makes my life a lot easier.
It does, because I think that's that planning stage, and we don't want to fall into the analysis paralysis, right? It's not about that, but it is about taking some of these more foundational steps that no one really likes to do, or there are, because I don't even necessarily like to do them. I want to move full speed ahead as well, but I learned, I think it was when I was in Oregon and I was running that business, and we wanted to have the line, right? We wanted people lined up, ready to eat our food. And I became lovingly known, and I'll have to share this with my friend, but she used to call me Lady Poo Poo all the time, because every time she would come up with an idea, I'm like, nah, that's not going to work, or, I would, but, and I know that she was thinking I was just shooting down ideas for the fun of it. And really it became so bad that it was like, but no, I've already gone through this process. I've talked about this, or I know things that you don't necessarily know about it. And so it is coming together, and I love getting the ideas and I love giving them, but I need someone to be Lady Poo Poo to me too, as well. Right. So there is a lot of merit in that. Just sitting back and saying, okay, what are the steps that we have to take to make this successful? And what, again, does success mean? What does it look like when we launch your business? What does it look like when and we're going to do a grant soon, but what does that look like? How are we getting the word out? What are the legalities behind it? How is this going to impact the end user? How is that going to impact that business owner that gets it? What does that mean for us? So it's asking all of those questions and making sure that you're taking the steps to answer those. But I know that, Natalie, I'm going to let you get your thought, and then I'm going to get ready for Just Good Business. So,
well, we actually have somebody that asked a question from Instagram. So I wanted to it's 2 peas in a pod, I believe is their Instagram name. And it's for Daniel. So what was the different direction and how did you do it?
I'm assuming that they're asking about like when I changed from brand strategy and design and started going into the sales coaching, like as we moved into 2024, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You elaborate. You said you decided to shift because of COVID. You were talking about how you.
Oh, no. That was completely different. No, COVID was the shift because I went full force into my fine art career. I had finally quit my last sales job, and I was like, I want to be an artist full time. Like, I'm tired of this. And I was in like my late 20s. I was like 28. So it was about 7-8 years ago. And so I was like, okay, let's go. I started doing really well. I did an opening show that I put on myself. I made like $4,000 in my opening night, and then I made like $20,000 off of like one collector afterwards. And I had a bunch of different shows set up, and then COVID killed all of that. And so I built a company called Most Influential Art, and we started doing an online magazine that was internationally received. I was working with some of the top talent on the planet, people that were like doing master classes in Florence and Rome, Italy, and going to their like studios, and it was an amazing experience. But it still wasn't right, and I was just like, I created
Okay.
something I actually
How do you
wasn't
know
trying to
it
do.
wasn't right? I think is kind of her correct question. Why did you choose that direction? And then how did you know it wasn't right? Like what caused you to shift? How do you know what
Yes.
you need to shift?
So I mean, there's a few things. For me, I knew it wasn't right because I wasn't getting the results that I was looking for. Like personally, like I couldn't measure up to the thing I was trying to do. And it was probably just I didn't have the capital at the time. I wasn't at the right place at the time. I wasn't experienced enough at the time. Maybe in like a couple of years from now, I might be able to pull it off. But it was just this massive machine that I just couldn't manage. And because I couldn't manage it and I wasn't effectively moving my pieces around, like my people and my team and all the stuff that I was supposed to be doing correctly, I wound up becoming a solopreneur again, right? I wound up being, stranded on a life raft in the middle of the ocean, and just like, well, I can't do this. Like, this isn't going to work by myself, and I don't have the capital to bring anybody else on. I have no revenue coming in, and I'm still in that growth stage where I'm trying to get out of startup. And so I moved out of that space. I went into something that was more grounded. It was more freelance oriented. It was something that I can personally do on my own. And then I scaled that further. And that's kind of why I'm here again doing sales, because, and I'd say this is the number one thing that made me make this decision. I stopped looking at what I was passionate about. I stopped looking at what I thought I could do or what I thought would be interesting or try to like reinvent the wheel. What I really did was just, I saw a gap in the marketplace. I saw it clear as day. And the moment that I saw it, I was like, that's what I have to do. I don't want to fight the marketplace. You're going to lose. It's a losing battle every time if you fight the marketplace. I have a skill that I know I can give to other people. I've done it before 1,000 times over again. It's useful, and people need it, and I can provide it for them. And so it became very simple, and I'm not having to chase people anymore because they need what I have and they come to me. And so instead of me having to arduously try to build something and, this like the perfect mousetrap, like build it and they will come kind of attitude, it's just, I haven't even fully built out my business or fully transitioned, and I'm already getting 6-figure contracts, right? It's like, that's the difference. And I can punch harder because I strategically partnered myself with businesses and with people that I believe in, that are aligned with my goals and values, with Business Empire Financial, with Shannon Mavis, with you, with everything going on in my life. I've positioned myself in a way where I have the network that I can push people to wherever they need to go, which makes me seem bigger than I actually am. So that way I can be a solopreneur, but move like a small to mid-sized business.
Yeah, and I think that
All
also
right.
just to kind of go back to, oh, sorry, Shanna, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go. No,
I
go
was
ahead
just
and
going
go
to
back
say,
to it.
part of that too, I think, is, are you doing what you love? Like, are you living in your superpower? So if you are, then it's okay. Well, then what has to be the next shift for you to take your business to the next level, right? Usually it's an internal shift. It's a shift in discipline. It's a shift in belief. So if you're already doing what you love, right, really it's going into that next level of you. That's where the shift needs to be. So, and only you can answer that question.
Yeah, I disagree with the idea that you have to do the thing that you love. I think it's the opposite. I think that you fall in love with what you do through developing expertise. I think his name is Mike Rowe. He did dirty. He was this. He did Dirty Jobs. That show back in the day. He was like, he would go to Dirty Jobs, and it was just like gross, like septic tanks and cleaning out the bottoms of people's houses, and it was just really gross jobs. And he's campaigning against a lot of modern day, dispelling some of the misconceptions about how to develop success and wealth in America. We keep pushing kids to go to 4-year colleges and get degrees, and they're just they're not succeeding because there's only so much space in that world. And there's all of these other jobs like craftsman's jobs and trades jobs that are not being fulfilled. And it's because everyone's like, oh, that's not what I want to do with my life. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think we think about what we do the wrong way, right? I never wanted to be into sales. That was never my intention. That was never my direction. I just kind of had a gift of gab. And I knew that if I wanted to be successful as an artist, I needed to learn how to sell my artwork. And so I got into sales, and I wouldn't say it's like my passion or something I love, but I do thoroughly enjoy what I do. I get to talk to interesting people all the time.
Exactly. Well, it makes me think about what a talented artist you are. You became such a talented artist because you were doing what you loved. Your passion was there. The discipline was there. You could sit there, my guess is 4, 5, 6, I don't know how many hours you go, and it goes by fast because you're doing what you love, right? And it's turned into other things. So most people aren't doing that. They're in the grind. They haven't even put thought into it. They just jumped into career. Sorry, Shannon. Go ahead.
No,
Shannon.
no, it's totally fine. No, we need to, let's keep going. But I'm going to say, I think it's a hybrid, right? I love what I do. And I knew that I was called to work with people, because I agree with you, Daniel. I was at different jobs, and every job I went to, I did a great job. I killed it because I loved going in there, learning new things. And the better I got at it, the more I loved what I did. Right. And Jen asked a question on Instagram. She was asking me, am I a people pleaser? And at one point I would say absolutely yes. I think now it's more of, I just have this love for people. So if I can do something that extends grace, that makes them feel more like who they were called to be, then absolutely I'm going to do that. Not to my detriment, but to their benefit, right? So there's this balance that I've found now. But I think back to what you were talking about, Daniel, yes, I think that it is good to fall in love with what you do and look at it differently and look at the opportunities that are afforded you. But I'm going to go with what Natalie was saying as well, because doing what you love, knowing that I can come into this space and work with people, work with business owners that are overwhelmed, that are, struggling, that are trying to figure it out, and I can walk alongside of them. I absolutely love that. And I know that that was the space that I'm supposed to be in, and that I was called to, and being able to do what I love makes it even better for me. So I didn't have to learn to love it. I now get the opportunity to go into it knowing that I love it. So I'm gonna hire.
Part of the journey is learning what we love.
Yeah.
And how do you know what that is until you've trial and errored it, right? Like
exactly.
Like compound ignorance. You don't know. And so until you experiment and try new things, like you'll never know what you actually love. You might be surprised to find that the thing you thought you loved isn't even the thing that you thought you loved. So we watched, before I say this next point, I feel like, Shannon, you tried really hard trying to be very cordial as to not use the term, I disagree with you. I think you were just everything to not say, I disagree with you, which I appreciate.
Well, Daniel, first of all, I would tell you if I disagreed with you. I have no problems with that whatsoever. But I didn't disagree. I just agreed with Natalie more.
There's a word for that. It's called I disagreed with you. Oh my God, that's awesome. Anyway, so we do movie nights here with me and my wife and the kid. Every once in a while, we'll put on like a Disney or a Pixar film. And there's one film that I really thoroughly enjoyed. There's actually a lot of adult themes to it. It's called Soul. And it's about a failed jazz artist who passes away and tries to get back to his body because he was just about to get his big break. And kind of, spoiler alert, the catharsis or the moral of the story is that the thing that gave him his spark, the thing that was, that gives people their spark in reality is not about any singular passion. Like, oh, I want to be an NBA player. Oh, I want to be a jazz musician. I want to be an artist, right? Like, that's not really the purpose of your life. It's a stepping stone to all of these other things. And it's the more mundane things. It's the small things. It's the noticing the color of the leaves on the tree outside. It's the tasting, like really taking a second to taste the coffee you're drinking, right? It's these small things, these what we consider mundane, that's just like plain old living, is actually the culmination of what gives your life purpose. It's never a singular thing because we're not singular creatures. And so a lot of times what winds up happening, and this kind of comes all the way, full circle back to the idea of success, is what we perceive as success is a pitfall, right? It is a lack of experience and scope and in perceiving reality, and we put very limiting beliefs on what we think is success. You said it earlier, I forget if it was you, Natalie, or you, Shannon, that was talking about the number that people usually have in their head of what success is to them is much lower than is actually achievable, right? It's a lot easier to get to that number than you realize because you're just thinking about it the wrong way. And so it's that idea of abundance rather than scarcity. And it also comes back to what I was saying about like not making decisions out of fear, but making them out of it's just the next decision to make in a long line of decisions that I'm going to inevitably make to get to where I'm going. The target is ever moving. It's not a fixed place, unfortunately. And that frustrates people because they think they can make that vision statement that we were talking about that was oh so important to developing a business and think that position, that vision is a stake in the ground at the top of the mountain. But it's not. It's a moving target. It's always moving. As you're learning and experiencing more, you're realizing that goal you set is either too small, it's in the wrong place, it's not aligned with exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And as you grow and evolve and get better at interacting and engaging and navigating reality and the roles that you put
more of them, let's not forget that.
Exactly. Your goals are going to change. They're going to change and you're going to change. And so everything we're talking about is always in flux, which is why it's so difficult to give people concrete definitions of this is how you get where you want to go. Because it's like, well, I'm not in your head. I don't know how you're going to change 3 days from now, let alone 30, 40 years from now. So, what are we actually talking about? And that's why when you ask the question, like, what does success look like? How do you attain success as an entrepreneur? It's like, it's a loaded question because for some people, especially some people that are hyper wealthy, like billionaire status, they're miserable and their goals change. And if they could give all of their money away to go back in time to restart, they might actually do it. Who knows? And so it's like, be careful of your perceptions.
Yeah, you might be driving a nice car with a Coke addiction and a girlfriend who's cheating on you with your best friend. That kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, that's more about, hey, be careful of envying the person next to you because you have no idea who they are and how they got there and what their life is because of it.
Exactly.
People think they want to be Elon Musk. I'm like, do you really want to be Elon Musk? Do you really? Think about what his day-to-day has to be like. And then tell me you want that pressure. SpaceX, Twitter. He's talking about buying Disney now. Tesla. I'm like,
kids that don't like him.
Racist comments, all of those things.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's just setting up franchises now.
Yeah.
Like family. Like, I just feel like he's just setting up franchises. He's trying to repopulate the world single-handedly.
Okay, so we've got Fitzroy here. We're going to jump over to him in a little bit, but I guess I want to know if you can share some practical strategies for entrepreneurs that will, I guess, as we think about, we've said define what success means, understand the goals, have vision, but are there any practical strategies that you want to share with our audience as they think about what this really means and starting to establish a vision for their company and their lives, really?
Yeah, one that's always benefited me in a practical like mantra, motto, way of looking at it that can be implemented pretty easily is if your goals don't scare the shit out of you, they're not big enough. If your goals are not terrifying and you feel that you can accomplish them within your lifetime, they're not big enough. And the reason why I say that is because we're not, again, that whole idea, it's not a fixed point. Success isn't, I accomplished it and now I'm here. Without a goal to attack, without something to strive for, we are goal-oriented creatures. There's no dopamine. There's no get up enthusiasm. Oh, I got to go do this. I got to go do that. You lose all motivation if you don't have a goal. And so that's why a lot of my goals that I have far exceed my lifetime, because like the point isn't to accomplish them. The point is to strive to be better every day. So I think that for me is the number one thing. It'll keep you grounded and it'll give you a vision for your future automatically. And even if it's in the wrong direction, at least you're striving for something and you'll have resources to course correct if you need to. Because you're going to, let's just face it, you're going to change course. You're going to find something else. Obstacles are going to, move you around and you got to learn how to navigate that. So I think that would be the number one thing I'd leave people with, is to make sure your goals are scary as hell. And it will also, this is the other thing it'll do for you. If you have a team, it will automatically accommodate your team as well.
Perfect.
All right. Awesome.
I agree with you.
Yes, that's all I wanted. That's all I need. You know what? I need to set bigger goals, Shanna, because my only goal here was to get you to agree with me.
There you go. All right. It is time for It's Your Boy, Fitzroy. Let's see what he has in store for us tonight. We missed him last week. Fitzroy.
Yes.
Hey, what's
Boy,
going
don't think
on?
I
It's
wasn't on your
me.
Instagram after I saw you at WW at the wrestling match. I was like, that's really why he wasn't on the show last week. He was out wrestling match.
I mean, that was on a Monday, but okay, so I'm gonna give you guys 2 guesses each. We're gonna guess when it comes to small businesses, food trucks is a very profitable kind of small business. So my question to you guys, can you guess the top 5 most profitable food truck foods?
Tacos.
Oh,
Wait, two guesses each. Do you want to do tacos for your one?
2 guesses each. Okay, 2 guesses
2
each.
guesses for the 3 of you.
Tacos
So
and
between
fruit.
the 3 of you, you got to guess the top 5.
Okay. I'm going to say
Ice cream's
barbecue.
got to be up there, right?
Well, he's not going to tell us until we give him 2 guesses each, I guess. So
No, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm just adding to what we're talking about. Okay, go ahead.
I know I want us all to be able to guess together, but Fitzroy likes to set his own rules. Okay. So Natalie, you said tacos,
Yes.
and did you have a second guess?
Yeah, the fruit trucks. Does that count? Like when
Okay.
you go and they cut the fruit? Yeah. Those are my 2.
Okay.
All right.
We do that probably once a week.
And I feel like this may be regional. Okay, but I'm gonna go with barbecue, and then because one of my favorite food trucks here is a Sliders food truck, I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with ice cream and gyro.
And
Okay, a gyro.
A gyro. Sorry, my wife's Greek. It's gyro. It's gyro.
Yeah.
That's how you say it.
Oh.
I'm feeling good about this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so the top 5, number 5 is Indian street food.
Oh, yeah, that makes
I
sense.
know. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Number 4 is actually pretty weird. Mac and cheese. I didn't even know there was mac and cheese food truck foods, but apparently people are cleaning up with mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Number
reject
3 is gourmet burgers, but I'll give you sliders.
Okay.
Burgers-
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Because they were gourmet sliders. I just want to say that. So they were gourmet. So, yep, I got it.
All right. Number 2 is just Mexican food. So I guess
Yeah.
tacos works. for that.
Tacos.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And number one, oddly enough, and I think it's just because it's cheap to make, grilled cheese sandwiches. You guys ever been to a grilled cheese sandwich
So
food
Mm.
truck?
full on, like, I'm taking over. I call BS that ice cream wasn't on there. I'm leaving. I'm done. Get out of here, bro. How is ice cream not on there? Dessert trucks aren't on there?
They're not on the top 5.
In what year?
Uh,
In what year? Was that like
This was
2020?
for 2023.
I'm still gonna say, yeah.
Okay, I'm
Shenanigans.
not gonna lie. I've had a grilled cheese from a food truck.
Really?
Yes,
Natalie,
it
you're
was a
part of the
lobster grilled
problem.
cheese. It was a lobster.
you're a part of
You're
the
the reason
problem.
that we lost this game because you ate a grilled cheese sandwich from a food truck and that ranked them higher. No, that makes sense. Well, kids like grilled cheese sandwiches. I personally think that and mac and cheese are gross and they shouldn't be even anywhere in a food truck, but fine.
I agree.
I agree as well, actually.
So yeah.
They must be
Okay.
taking into account the fares. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, maybe. Because, yeah, food trucks are at a lot of fairs, but
I mean, I don't know. They would have fried Oreos and stuff like that if it was those things.
Yeah, that's exactly what I go to. Dessert stuff like
Yeah.
funnel cakes and fried Oreos and ice cream and stuff. I'm like, they're everywhere. How is
but
that not
this was the
even on
most
the list?
profitable. So maybe it's because,
Most
Profit margins.
yeah, the margins
Oh
on
yeah,
a
okay. I
cheese
guess I
sandwich
should
is
have paid
probably.
attention to the question.
Yeah, we all missed it. We were.
I'm like,
I was thinking most popular. I'm like, who doesn't get tacos?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
red.
He didn't say most popular. He said most profitable. That is
Yeah,
true.
he
That is
did.
true.
He
Yeah.
did indeed.
Cheese
So,
sandwich is
okay.
pretty cheap to
Yeah.
make.
Yeah,
All right.
big time.
I'll give you that.
Yes. All
Shame
right.
on us.
Good stuff.
Three
All right.
experts talking to people about how to build their businesses, and we can't even follow simple directions. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So
Just
true.
undermine ourselves completely. Yeah.
Undermine ourselves, yes.
Hey, don't beat yourself up, sir. Don't beat yourself up. They're just excited because Fitzroy has. I'm just kidding. I'm
You're
just
talking
kidding.
about food and dinner
He
time.
comes in hot. He comes in with the questions.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us and sharing your
Yes.
experience and your wisdom with us. Fitzroy, thank you for jumping on and sharing excitement with us week after week. We always love having you. And yeah.
All right. I'm
All right.
gonna let
We'll see
you
you
guys
guys.
go.
All right. Shanna, you're gonna go into grants?
Yeah, okay, let me
Yeah.
share my screen so I can talk about the grant tonight. It expires tomorrow, so be aware of that. You can go to helloalice.com and find this, but it is the Boss Impact Fund, Boss Network. They are in 2024 going to give away $250,000. They've already given away $700,000. They've got a 3-year commitment of $1.5 million. Their preference, so if you're a African-American woman, a Black woman-led business, that's where the preference is going to go because of the just the disparity in how much funding gets to, the Black community and women in general. But you've got until tomorrow, 5 p.m. It says Eastern here. I've seen 2 different things. So just get it done tonight. It is my best advice for you. They opened it up, just found out about it, but I want to make sure, be a for-profit company, Black woman-owned founder, have a demonstrated need for funds. So that's where we get into when we had that conversation with Natalie Poindexter, and she was talking about it. Really know what you're going to use those funds for. Be able to tell them if you were granted any amount of money, how you're going to use those funds, and your business needs to be based in the US. So you can go to bossimpactfund.com, helloalice.com, or even Sage Grant Program. You can go there and look up the information, but do it tonight if you qualify. And then Hello Alice has another grant that's expiring next month, I think, but we'll share more about that next week.
Awesome. That's amazing. They're giving away $700,000.
They've given away $700,000
Wow.
already. this year, I think when I was reading more into it, it was 250,000 is what they're committing to giving away this year. So that's a significant, change for someone's business. And it comes with like mentorship opportunities and everything that you need in order to use the money wisely, right? So it's not just
Right.
about giving you cash, as we've talked about. What else do you need? What else will help you build your successful business so that you get in a position where you can hopefully help someone else?
Yes, and we are putting ourselves in position to do that. Of course, obviously, when I heard you talk about Sage, I'm like, that can be us, Shanna. So we're just so excited about all the awesome things that we have going on and continuing. We're continuing to grow and get better, just like we talked about during our show. So I want to ask you guys, if you haven't liked, shared, subscribed to our YouTube channel, please make sure you do that. We could really use your support as we're moving into the grant space and giveaways for you guys. We're going to be giving away lots and lots and lots of money. Shannon and I were just thinking about really, what do we love so much about spending time with you guys? We love to give you resources. We love to help you grow your business. We love to see you win. It brings us so much fulfillment. It's like everything, how excited that gets us. So make sure you subscribe to our Instagram broadcast channel. I put the link in the chat. Our YouTube channel are both in there as well. In that Instagram broadcast channel, eventually you are going to have to pay to be part of it. Right now, it is a free subscription. You'll get free goodies in there every week. So subscribe to that channel. Last week, we had your free resource for Google to have a banging Google business page. Everyone who saw that should have had their VA go through that, or their assistant go through that course and update their Google profile, right? We'll have another freebie in there for you tonight. We'll also have all of grant information in there for you. And it also gives you ways to have more conversations with Shanna or myself. If you want to, you can reach out with questions. Our goal is to help empower you to better your business week after week with the resources that will help you to do so. So help us grow our community. The bigger our community is, the more resources we have to give away and grow. We have an awesome giveaway that will be starting next week. We're going to announce it. If you are subscribed to our broadcast channel, you will know about it in advance. It's going to be a fun one. Shannon and I are super excited to gift this to you guys. So make sure you go over there and join that broadcast channel and subscribe to our YouTube.
We did have someone ask on Instagram, will we share the link for the grant? Absolutely. We will absolutely share that link. I'll try and remember to do it, but if not, I know that we will put it in our broadcast channel, right?
Yes, they'll be in the broadcast channel.
Right,
we want
Natalie?
to try to build up that community.
I was like,
can you hear me?
really?
Yes, we're really working on building up that community. Not everyone's going to have access to that. Obviously, at some point, it's going to be where people are going to have to pay to come in. So right now, as we're building the community, we figure it's all of our good, close friends and family, the time that have spent the last 3 years with us, which we didn't even talk about last week, Shannon, that it was our 3-year anniversary, which is so exciting.
Nice.
Right. We just thank you guys so much for all your support, all the experts that have showed up and just helped better the community. And it's just been such a great time. Even I was thinking about what all the reasons why I love the show today. And a big part of it is just all the experts that we've had on the show and all the wisdom that they've brought and how it's helped me in my own life and in my business. And I just feel so lucky to have that. And we want to pay it forward to our community. So make sure that you subscribe to that channel.
Yeah, that is something that I tell people. I learn something every week, but I don't learn it just for me. I get the opportunity to share it with other people that I know, because without fail, a lot of my circle, business owners or aspiring business owners, but outside of that, just practical knowledge and being able to share some of the stories. It's so encouraging for people to know. Even know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who made it, right? So there's hope. It provides that hope. And that's what we want every business owner to have. It is a lot of work to build a business, and it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not for everyone. But if you know a business owner, just give them that support, give them that understanding. It may not be your path, but it's definitely theirs. So it's just like, it gives a broader understanding. So I absolutely love being able to be a part of that and bringing on different experts and hearing their perspectives. And I think for me tonight with Daniel, one of the takeaways I really loved, every time anyone talks about vision, but that for me was one of the key takeaways, was start with your vision. just know where you're trying to take your company, because then people like me, people like Natalie, people in your own circle, your family, your friends, they'll have an easier time coming alongside of you because they'll be able to catch that vision. What about you?
Yeah, that was probably one of them. And then just taking the time, he talked a lot about more the vision and the getting to where you want to go. Well, I just kept thinking navigation, right? We need to know where we want to go. And then we have the route to get there, but you have to know where you want to go first. So that was one of the biggest ones for me is, are you clear on where you want to go, where you want to end up? So we are. We are. And we're excited about this season with you guys. So thank you everyone who joined us. Thank you for those who are on the podcast and joining us on the replay. Again, make sure you go subscribe to that broadcast channel. We're going to be dropping some goodies in there for you tonight. Have a great week, everyone. Do something that will help you better your business, and we will see you soon.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.